Warning! There will not be any jump scares actually, but don't be fooled, because there will be some spoilers from the game Bendy in the Ink Machine. All viewers have been warned and advised. Yes, Bendy, from the horror game Bendy and the Ink Machine. For a few of you that don't know who Bendy is from the hit indie horror title known as Bendy and the Ink Machine. But a little bit of the background story here. It all starts out when he plays an animator named Henry, who was soon invited to his friend's studio that he hasn't animated with for over 30 years. But instead of a nice, clean studio where he can just meet his friend and animate stuff again, he appears into this dark, inky world that he must survive in order to escape. But he also discovers something that could bring his own cartoons and characters into the real world, the Ink Machine. And yes, it even eventually brings his own star into the real world. But instead of the lovable Mickey Mouse ripoff from the 1930s, he was found as the inky, horrifying monster that tries to kill his own creator, Ink Bendy. But now you're probably plugging your ears so you don't spoil too much for this moveset. So just to save all the trouble, I'll just get into the moveset now. Now, things we need to know. Bendy will be a pretty lightweight character with 2 jumps. You have no additional move options though. Now, allow me to explain what you might see in this concept. You might be wondering which Bendy are we going to use? The normal cartoon Bendy or the horrifying ink Bendy? Now, for now, we are going to use the cartoon Bendy. Now, the only problem with this is that we haven't seen much of cartoon Bendy throughout his game. In fact, we only seen cardboard cutouts of him in the game and then some animations that the creator made. But I was able to pull this off. I figured that what if Bendy was actually made of ink, like Ink Bendy? Well, we have seen proof that the ink machine could create ink creations from, well, Boris and, well, the ink demons himself. So why not? Now, instead of some physical attacks, he will actually use items and weapons out of his own body, since most of the items and weapons, well, are made of ink, which came from another ink machine, which is not the same one that creates these characters, but yeah, another ink machine. Now then, getting to the actual moveset. For Bendy's jab, we can have him start out by using a weapon that is in the game, which is known as the Gent Wrench. We could have him swing it to the right of him, then with the same hand, we can have him swing it to the left of him, and then finishing off the jab by slamming the wrench downwards. The last hit does deal some pretty nice damage, so be aware of that. Now for Bendy's dash attack, we can have him start the trip and then fall. While sliding, he will leave an ink trail. The ink trail may have some slowness effects when stepped on. For Bendy's side tilt, we can have him use a wrench and swing it high to low. The move is pretty spammy and is very high comboing, so be aware of that. For Bendy's up tilt, we can have him use a side wrench, poking upwards. It is a pretty nasty needle being made of ink, and it is pretty sharp. And once again, it is pretty spammable. Now then, for Bendy's down tilt, we can have him use a cane, which is also, what a surprise, made of ink, and having him swing it high to low. It hits hard, but it has a little bit of end lag. However, it may also kick off foes off ledges. And yes, I know there isn't a cane in the game, but this is more of a reference to how tap dancing was kind of popular back then. Not making fun of anyone that is pretty old watching this, which I count down, but I made this awkward, didn't I? Yes, for his side smash, we have him use the almighty scythe. one of the most powerful weapons in the game. And yes, there is a scythe in the game. It's pretty hidden, so no wonder you've never seen this before. Now, the scythe in the game could have, or the scythe, which will work in Smash, which would Bendy use. I made that very confusing, sorry. We're going to have him swing the scythe forwards, and like I said, it will deal massive damage to any unlucky foe that gets hit by this move. Now, for Bendy's up smash, we can have him kind of do something pretty toonish. We can have him get ready for an uppercut, but then extends his the hand size, dealing massive damage to any foe that is in front of him and a little bit upwards. But you do realize I said in front of and a little bit upwards. Yes, it doesn't hit all around upwards. It only hits the front of him, really, and then a little bit to the front upwards. Now, for Bendy's down smash, we can have him use two axes, then jump up, and then slicing down for each side. For Bendy's neutral air, we can have him stretch out all of his limbs, hitting all around him. For Bendy's side air, we can have him spin his legs, dealing multi-hitting damage to any foe that gets caught under this move. For Bendy's back air, we can have him once again do something pretty cartoonish. But we can have him literally take off his glove and smack the foe. Talk about giving someone a hand. I mean, he is able to do this. I mean, he is pretty much made of fake, so why not? For Benny's up here, we're gonna do a scissor kick. It may hit sweet spot if you land on the edge of the move and not directly in between his legs. So, and finally, for his down air, we can have him use an anvil, which I think that's the wrong reference. Wait a minute, that's not right. For Bendy's down air, we can have him drop an anvil. The anvil works almost exactly like Steve's anvil drop, but this is actually a heavy item in one of the Bendy's games. Yes, it was actually a mobile game called Bendy Nightmare Run, where you're supposed to run away from other nightmares. But now we got all the basics done. Let's get into the grabs. And he would grab the foe by using an item known as the plunger. He would pummel by kicking the foe. For Bendy's side throw, he will throw the foe away while the plunger is still sticking onto the foe. So yes, the plunger will be sticking onto the foe while the foe is being thrown. For Bendy's back throw, he could swing the foe back by using the plunger. For Bendy's up throw, he could swing the foe upwards. And finally, for Bendy's down throw, he lifts the foe upwards with the plunger and slams the foe down to the ground. For Bendy's neutral special, we can actually have him use a hose made out of his own ink. Then the hose sprays ink when the trigger is being held. The move is very similar to the Inkling's neutral special, even having the ink effect, which would slow and weigh down foes when the foe is inked too much. However, to even this move out, since there is no ink limit, if the move is used for too long, let's just say about 8 seconds, it will actually have shortened range, the move. Or even if using it for way too long, you will not be able to use the move at all for just, let's make it 2 seconds. That's not fair. Let's make it 4 seconds. Now, to use a more heavy projectile, you could use the side special. Oh, I lied. Now, as I messed up right there, I almost forgot to say their reference. This is actually a reference to one of his cartoons, as we've seen, when he actually uses a hose. That's pretty much it. As I was saying for the side special, for Bendy's side special, we could have him throw an ink ball. Unlike the neutral special, it is more gravity effective and deals more damage at once. It may still ink foes. For Bendy's up special, it can work very similar to the Inkling's up special. But for Bendy, he can turn into a strain of ink, launching himself at far ranges, and then turning back to himself, extending all his limbs and dealing any damage around him. Finally, for Bendy's down special, we can have him use technical issues. For Bendy's down special, he would ball an ink ball, which the ink would stick to the stage, slowing down foes that steps on it. After a few seconds, the ink will evaporate. But if using the down special in the air, he would drop the ink ball below him and would splat a certain area below him as well. If it lands on the foe and it inks them, I messed it up. If it lands on the foe, it inks them. Okay? Don't make up. Anyways, now that's not the scary part, is it? No, that's not scary. Let's bring it to some spoopy stuff to the thing. Now, if there are some ink tiles through the stage, will actually summon some evil creatures known as the Searchers. Yes, more technical issues. I'm not used to this technical issues. Now then, what will these Searchers do? Now, searchers will spawn out of the ink trail after 7 seconds, after the ink was spawned. They can only walk on the ink trail, so not too scary, I guess. But if too close, the searcher would grab you. They will only spawn once. Now, the searchers may hit, they may still swing if you are still at a distance. It does deal 4 damage, and if they grab you for a limited time, it does deal 2% damage per second. Each searcher will have 14 HP, and the despawn time is 20 seconds, so they do evaporate. Now, if you thought that was it, well, let's just go into Final Smash. Psych! We're not going to the Final Smash. There's some scarier stuff for Bendy. Heh, heh, heh. This is when things get very, very interesting. Now, you didn't think Bendy would stay cartoonish for long. Oh no! He is able to switch to his dark side. Ig Bendy. The horrifying monster who proves the true demon of Bendy around the ink machine. Now, you might be wondering how this gimmick works. Well, let me tell you. If Bendy takes about 300% damage the entire match, then Cartoon Bendy will transform himself to Ink Bendy for the rest of the match. Different yet more powerful moves that Cartoon Bendy, and there is no turning back no matter what until, well, you go to another round. Anyways, things we need to know about Ink Bendy. He would be a heavy weighted character with only 2 jumps. He will have some impressive running speed and no additional move options. Alright, now here's the main difference between Cartoon Bendy and Ink Bendy. Ink Bendy's moveset would not have anything toonish or itemish. It would be more physical and scarier as well. And it would have a lot more references as he actually appears in the game. He would also deal a lot more damage than Cartoon Bendy. So, going to his jab, Bendy's jab could have him do a 3-hit combo by first doing a hard hitting left hook swing, which actually slows yet a bit more powerful. The second hit could have him do a more faster hitting right hook punch, and his last hit could have him do a swing with both arms, ending the perfect combo. For Bendy's dash attack, he would do a forward punch while running. For Bendy's side tilt, he could do a headstring that hits rapidly. For Bendy's up tilt, he can do a fast hitting hand clap. It actually hits all around him, and the right side hits harder because of the extra glove. His down tilt can even do a high to low slash. Now going on to his smashes, Ink Bendy's side smash could have him turn one of his hands into a needle and poke forwards. It deals a massive amount of damage and actually does the same amount of damage as, well, Ink Bendy's, which also dealt a good massive amount of damage. Ink Bendy's up smash could be very similar to Cartoon's Bendy's up smash. Having his hands grow bigger, it does a very powerful uppercut. However, this is actually a reference to Ink Bendy transforming itself to the Beast Bendy, as we saw his hands grow an extra size or two. For Ink Bendy's down smash, he could swing with both hands high to low. Once again, the right hand deals extra damage because of the extra glove. For Bendy's neutral air, he could do an average knee jab, while his knees hits front of him and his arms hit back. For Bendy's side air, he could swing his arm high to low. Bendy's back air could have him swing his arm back, smacking a foe who's stupid enough to go right behind him. For Bendy's up air, we're going to have him do a head swing. And Bendy's down air could have him do a classic spike kick. And yes, of course, it may spike foes. Ink Bendy would grab the foe with one hand and pummel by slamming the foe or slamming his head to the foe. For Bendy's side throw, we could have him launch the foe force. His back throw could have Bendy throw the foe back by doing a swing throw. His up throw could have Bendy swing the foe upwards, and his down throw could have him throw the foe down to the ground. And yes, it may bury foes, and it's only at 25% of that happening, though. Now then, for Bendy's neutral special, Ink Bendy's neutral special, we could have him throw a gravity-affected projectile that inks foes when it hits a foe. And we already explained what the ink does, and this is an automatic link. It only hits one time, and once it hits one time, the foe will automatically be inked. Too overpowered, too bad. You dealt 300 damage to Cartoon Bendy, you get the Wrath of Ink Bendy. For Bendy's side special, it will actually work a lot like Greninja's in a way. This could actually go under a platform that he inked. It also works on Ink Bendy's, Cartoon Bendy's ink, just so you know, same thing. Now, as you can see, nothing will actually happen. He would dig into the ink. Now, as you can see, you'll see part of his head, so it gives a little bit of warning. But once letting go the trigger, he will pop out, dealing massive amounts of damage if he pops out right on top of the foe. For Bendy's up special, we have him do, well, a drill and spin, propelling himself upwards. Why? Because he can. Also, I don't have any other ideas, so. And finally, for Bendy's down special, we can have him charge forwards while leaving an ink trail or platform on the stage. If used in air, he would charge downwards instead. Now, more technical issues. No, not you to that, 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 We'll be right back after these technical issues. If used in the air, it would charge downwards instead. And yes, searchers may still spawn from the ink. But we already explained about the searchers, so I don't need to explain that again. Now we got all those stuff done. Let's actually get into the final smash. Now then for the final smash and Cartoon Bendy's final smash, both of the four's final smash, we got them turn into the Beast Bendy, a horrifying version of the Bendys. This could first start out by having the stage being completely covered with ink. Sticky, thick ink, almost impossible to move or even jump. Then Beast Bendy charges into them, dealing massive damage to any unlucky foe that gets caught in the ink. Now, the first alt could happen to be the classic cardboard looking alts. The second alt could happen to be a red alt. The third can be an orange alt. The fourth can be a green alt. The fifth can be that one annoying blue alt. The sixth is a more darker and less annoying blue alt. The seventh can be a purple alt. The last one could be a classic cartoon alt. Now then, for Cartoon Bendy's taunts, we have him first wink at the screen. His second talk have him bow down to the crowd or the screen. And the last one can have him drink a can of bacon soup, which is made of ink. For Ink Bendy's taunts, we have him scream, that weird, evil jump scare scream. His second one, Kevin, creepily turn his head to the screen while his body's still forward. And his final taunt, we have him lean forward and roars. Now, for the victory animations for Cartoon Bendy, his first one, Kevin tap dances screen showing his moves. His second one, Kevin hide behind a cardboard version of himself, then knocks it over and then winks at the screen. His final one, Kevin bows to the crowd while having the spotlight turn on him. Then counting three, and then the entire stage goes pitch black. Now for the victory animations for Ink Bendy, we have him scream to the screen and then look at the screen blankly. The second one can have the floor being covered with ink, and then he jump scares from it, and that's pretty much it. In the final victory, Kevin dashes towards the screen and then grabs the camera and throws it onto the ground, showing a tilted angle of Bendy. And that's it. That's what if Bendy and Ink Bendy wasn't Smash. I hope you enjoyed this moveset. I'm sorry I messed up so many times. I actually used a script. Yeah, technical issues. Because those of you that was in the Discord server or someone else was going to present this, well, they didn't have the time after all, so I gotta present this. So, anyways, if you haven't subscribed, I suggest you please subscribe. That's only about 80% of people, well, did not subscribe. The other 20% actually subscribed. So, I suggest you subscribe. Anyways, if you like this moveset, then give it a thumbs up. That's probably because I didn't suck. That's your opinion, though. If you want to keep track of any of our videos, I suggest you ring the bell. And if you want to keep track of any of our updates, links, or any of that stuff, I suggest you go to the Discord server, which we put a link down in a channel about me or in the banner above. Anyways, that was What If Ink Bendy Wasn't Smash. So long, peeps!